Top of the evening from the bottom of the world.
It's the Push Project, Day 11.
Well, tell me a little bit about it.
Let me give you the coordinates. We're at 8949.856 south, and then west 08732.920. We are 10.2 nautical miles to the pole, and we did 6.35 nautical miles in 9 hours and 15 minutes today. It was a beautiful day. The sun was out. It was quite cold, though, minus 34. I spotted the South Pole around 12:23 today in the afternoon, and we were about 14 miles away from the pole. And then we just from then on we just navigated straight to the pole. At the end of the day, we had a really good day, by the way, and it was our second longest distance that we traveled. So it was kudos to Grant and the team for sure. And we were setting up a picture. We were setting up a picture with Kyoki, and very quickly I started getting really cold and had to set up the tent and ended up getting hypothermia and having to get in my sleeping bag real quick, and Tal had to set up everything. So, but everything's fine now. We just started boiling water. Tal is. I'm still in the sort of in the sleeping bag, and Grant's next to me, and Petter's in here too. He actually.
Evening, John.
Good evening, Grant. What did it feel like today when you were able to see the pole? That must have been incredibly exciting.
Oh, what a moment, honestly, for a group of dreamers to be out in this space and just see nothing but white and the abyss of wondering and hoping that there's this tangible end in sight, and we're just navigating through white space and moving day after day, and it all looks the same. And then to finally be pushing this morning and hear Doug yell, "I think I see it!" and we pull up, and sure enough, if you squint real hard, you could see what may have been just the top of a satellite dish. And it looked like Morse's Trudy snow for a good long while, but mile after mile, it eventually turned into what would be a really, really tiny satellite dish that as the hills would go up and down, we would lose it at times, and then we'd come back, and we'd lose it, and then it'd come back. But we knew that was the South Pole, and, now we're about 11 miles out, and the hills, all day we went uphill it was a really difficult day in terms of physical exertion, because for whatever reason, it was another one of those Infinite Hill days where we went uphill all day long, and we had a little bit of flat and some more hill, and so where we're camping right now, we can't see the pole, but we'll probably see the pole 30 minutes after we get going in the morning, and just being this close to it, what a feeling.
That is amazing. Now, in terms of the hills, are there's slight inclines and slight declines, correct?
The hills are, I call them the Infinite Hills, because they just never end. And it's almost an optical illusion where your brain sort of plays tricks on you, where I'll be pushing along and it's flat, and then an hour later, all of a sudden I'll realize that the horizon in front of me is a lot shorter than the horizon behind me. I'll turn around and I'll look, and it just goes for hundreds of miles. And there's only one conclusion, that you're going uphill, and then that hill will last for most of the day. I mean, every hill we've had has been at least one day. I'm imagining we've probably got uphill to go all the way to the pole. So I'm looking at another 2 days of uphill. And by uphill, I don't mean huge gradients. I mean, all told, probably 300-400 feet, something like that. But just a constant increase in that friction with the Velcro and styrofoam snow that I'm still highly in love with.
Hey, Grant, I understand that you were able to talk to about 150 people at Gallery Kyoki last night. What was that like? And I'm sure there was a ton of your friends in the room. How did that feel?
Oh my gosh! Well, what an experience! I mean, what an incredible experience! It was the first time we'd really heard back from anyone in terms of a large group since leaving for this expedition, and to feel the crowd erupted. Kiyoki called and he said, "Hey, this is Kiyoki," and all of a sudden the noise through the phone, it just sounded like deafening roar. It was amazing, absolutely incredible. And for me to get on the phone, and I got to explain and express and truly just connect with what this trip means to me in terms of paying forward my injury, and how scenarios like this are applicable to everyone beyond this group, and how a world scenario, you know, and another scenario went down. So then someone said, "We've got a couple people that are going to ask you questions." And at first I didn't recognize the voice, and I realized it's my father-in-law. And he's saying he was so moved by my being conscious to his seeing the beauty. And you and I had talked about that a few nights ago, and he had heard that dispatch from you, and he had a message from my wife, and it was just so beautiful. They talked that morning, and then Doug read it in front of everybody at the Kiyoki Gallery. He read it directly to me, and it was one of those tear moments where everybody just felt that love and that support. And what an amazing deal. And for me too, also, I love telling the High Five story and talking about the High Fives Foundation and what they've done for me and what they do for others who have been through life-altering injuries. And I just think they're so amazing, and I think their cause is so valid. And I'm telling that story, and I'm talking about their founder, Roy Tuscany, and I call him out. I say, "Is Roy in the crowd?" And he wasn't, but turns out one of his greatest friends and another person who works at High Fives, Adam Bargeron, was there. He got on the phone, and he was crying on the phone, and just so moved by what was happening between the push and the High Fives Foundation, and just the realm of positivity that was really being felt there at the Kiyoki Gallery last night. What an experience for me to call in, what an experience to be there, I can imagine, to hear from our team.